everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Subscription Boxes and More with Michelle. And I have something very quick to show you. And but at the end of the video, I hope to actually show you how I use these. Let's get it open and see what it is. This is not a subscription box. This is from Art Impressions, which is a company that makes beautiful stamps. And these are watercolor stamps. And my husband bought these for me. You make watercolored pictures. You paint them using the stamps to help you to be able to you know, do the, well, here are the stamps. You can see what it looks like. And then you do all the rest of the work. But I will show you that. So there's what the stamps look like. And you put them on a acrylic block and you stamp with them. And I will show you that. So I got this one, which is the garden, like trellis. And it's got a bunny and it's got different flowers. And here is a garden bench with a garden, like a wagon type deal, you know, so you can go and do your gardening. And it's got a cat that's sleeping on the bench, and it's got a bird house and a pair of Crocs shoes and a garden tool there. Can you see them? And it makes like scenes like that when you paint it. Again, that's what the rubber stamps look like. Try to go through these kind of quick. This, I've been wanting this ever since it came out. And this is the Old Barn mini set. And it's a barn and a tree and then a fence. And that's what it looks like. That's what you can do with it. And that, you just pop those out of the rubber backing. You just cut those there. I don't know, you can probably see it when I bend it, kind of. You can see where it kind of separates. They just pop out, and you use an acrylic block to do those stamps. Then to go with that, I have the truck, and there's also a barn and some fencing, but it's a different one. See the truck and the flowers and sitting out in the field, and then there's another barn and some fencing. And again, same way with that. They're in that rubber backing. Well, guys, as you can see, it's another day. It's been a few days since I started this video, but I need to finish up the video for the Art Impressions watercolor stamps that I ordered. And, well, that Eric ordered me, actually. And so I think we left off on the farm. The barn, it's called Old Barn Mini Set. And I showed you that. I'm really into the farm thing. But here are people to go with it, little silhouettes of people. You can either make them silhouettes as they are here, or you can color them and paint them to look like, you know, not shadows of people, but people. You know what I'm saying? Not just black solid shapes. So there, I don't know if you can see how they've got them colored in the bottom. But I got also to go with that is horses, and I intend to get other farm related things. I'm really into the farmhouse thing in the, I don't know, it's just an aesthetic I really find pleasing. I also was able, these things were like on a sale, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. So I was able to get them at a discounted rate. So I also got the wall, like the bricks and things for around the doors, and to give your, you know, picture more texture. And so I got that, and there's also a cobblestone one that I want to get, but I also need to get the doors and the windows. So, you know, it's a thing where you're going to build your collection of stamps so that you can, you know, the sky's the limit as to what you can do. I do draw quite a few of my elements because I don't have all the stamps, but I'd like to have the stamps to help so that, you know, the perspective, the size of everything stays correct. But anyways, that's what that will do, is the bricks along, you know, beside the door and things. So that, think of that as the front of a really pretty card that you send to someone, like welcome to your new home or something like that. So, but by buying all this, I was able to get 2 free stamps, one of which being a nice bunny that could be used with some of my other watercolor stamps, like flowers and foliage and things, or anything. If I put it in the foreground and put the smaller elements in the background, like say the barn and stuff, I could put the bunny way in the foreground and have the barn and things, you know, by making things in the front larger, they'll look like they're closer to you, and the things farther back make them smaller. You know, I could have the bunny out front, and the farm could be looking like it was kind of up and back, you know, from, make it look like it's in the background, something like that, you know. So that's neat. This one's a little more cartoony, but again, it can still kind of go with the barn and things. And that is, I don't know how well you saw the bunny. Let's get that closer since it's small. There's the bunny. There's the cow, but they were free, so I was happy. And let's look at these a little closer as well. So see how you have here, you have your tree, but you don't have the foliage. So it looks like a winter tree. You've got your barn, you have your fence, right? But you use things from other sets, like to make the foliage and make the flowers and to make the whole scene come to life. And I love this bench with the sleeping kitty cat. But you don't have to necessarily have the kitty cat on the bench. Maybe because you can use as much or as little of the stamp as you want. You can use just part of it, or you can use the whole thing. So, and I'll show you how to do this in a minute. I'll have to clean up my space. There's that door showing the bricks and things around it. And up there, the black and white shows you what you get. So there it is. And then you put it on a stamping block. Love this, that comes with a barn, or you can make that a house. It doesn't have to be a barn. But the truck set, I'm way into the trucks, especially, you know, sitting out in the field and it's kind of dilapidated and kind of rusty, and God, I love that aesthetic. I'm just weird, I guess. You could use that as a barn, or you could actually make that the farmhouse, and you could have this be the barn, this be the farmhouse. You could have, you know, the truck and the people, and you can make a whole picture based on, you know, on what I've got here. But there's the truck, and they have it all filled up and, you know, kind of in the field, and like the wildflowers have taken over. So that's kind of neat, huh? And see what I'm saying? It could be a barn, or it could be the house, the farmhouse. And more fencing. There's the horses up close. Again, you don't have to make them black silhouettes. See how they have it in brown and things. Depends on what color you ink up the stamp, and then, you know, you add the water and the painting and the, you know, look at that. I love the windmill. I don't have a windmill. I want a windmill. But see how they color them? They don't have them just black and white. And so there's that. Got a couple different doggos, no cats. Here's the archway. See, you can incorporate all of these things if you want to. See how they've got the flowers, you know, they're like climbing flowers over that archway. And there's a little bit, a bunny rabbit, see? And there's some flowers for that, some flowers on foliage. So anyways, there's those stamps, and I already have a lot of their stamps. Not enough. I say a lot, like there's, I don't have a lot, but I have several. But this shows you step by step really how to do these and turn them in to these wonderful watercolor images using the stamps. It shows you really step by step. And this company is really good. They do what they call Watercolor Wednesdays, and every Wednesday they put out a watercolor video so that you can watch them do it. But I'm going to get things cleaned up and set up, and I don't even have a piece of watercolor paper in front of me, so I'm going to get ready, and I'm going to do a small painting. It's not going to be a big one. It's not going to take a lot of time. I just want to show you how. Maybe I'll do like that bunny, the freebie bunny, with some foliage and stuff. Maybe I'll do it sort of like the picture and give you an idea, since that's really small. I can probably do that one. All right, let me clean up my, because I have been unboxing, so I have a lot of stuff. around me. Let me clean that up and be right back with you, and you can see how I do watercolor paintings and don't have to be stressed out about whether or not I have the perspective right, or whether or not my drawing or my painting is good enough. I start with the base and I add to that myself to make, to make art. Be right back. All right, so I am back. I have, where did I put it? About a 3x3 square of Strathmore watercolor paper. So it's a nice 140-pound paper. So this is what I like to use. This is my favorite. But because our little bunny is so small, I thought that, this was a nice size to put on the front of a card. And here is our stamping block. I got some water here. I have my watercolor markers. Let me show you one. They are Marvy Le Plume markers. Le Plume 2. And they're dual-ended, so it's got a brush end on one side and a pointed end on the other side. And they are watercolor. They are water-based markers, so they can be used to watercolor. Well, I'm going to be using a different size than what I usually like. I usually like a number 4, and I'm not sure what size this one is. A 3. Well, somebody has been into my stuff. Imagine that. When John was here, John did a lot of painting, so he may have borrowed it and not exactly put it where it goes. So we will just go on with this size. Not my favorite choice. All right. So, all right, let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to start with our rabbit first. Take a little bunny out of the packaging. And it's got this backing to keep the sticky side from sticking to something you don't want it to. Keep that piece. Try to pull it off. If you pull it off like fast and you want to try to pull it off as flat as you can, otherwise it curls up. Just my tip for you. I'm going to start with Sepia, and that's dark brown. Where's my Sepia? This one? It's number 45 of the Marvy Le Plume 2. It's number 45. I'm going to use my brush end, and I'm just going to ink the entire rabbit. Maybe not the very, very bottom right here. Might keep it dry because I'm going to settle him in the grass. So we'll want the grass to go over him a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm inking him up where I want him to be on the paper. The parts of him I want to show. And then if I'm worried that that may have dried too much, I can huff on it, go like you do your glasses when you want to clean them. And it leaves a little steam from your breath. And I'm going to center him a little bit, but kind of down towards the bottom portion. And I don't want to rock my stamp or anything. I just want to push it down flat. And see, I have all of him but that little bit that I wanted to cover with some grass. Now, I didn't bring in something to clean my stamp with. Well, guess what? That's why God made fingers. All right, I will have this all over me before we're done. So we're going to put that backing right back on that stamp like it was, and we're going to put it right back in the plastic so that we can always find our stamps. Because they're so little, it is easy for them to get lost. I mean, that's a big stamp compared to a lot of them. So you can imagine what that would be like. All right, so we're done with our rabbit. I'm going to set that aside. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the color out of the line inwards to the bunny, not so much outwards, because I wanted to be a little brown bunny. If I wanted him to be a white bunny, I would have used the sepia and a blue tone, so it would have made him a little gray, and I would have pulled the color a little more outwards. But this time I'm going to pull it inwards, and you want to always make sure that you, you know, sort of shake your brush off, wipe your brush off. You don't want too much water, But, and you also want to leave highlights, so especially on his little face. So we're going right here, but we're not going to do like so much where the sun is going to be hitting on his face. So you always want to leave white in kind of the center. Now I haven't done this in a long time, so this may not be as good as I would like. You want it to be darker where there's going to be shadows. Like this arm, I don't know how well you can see it, but this arm right here is more in shadow, and this one is a little more in the light. So the top edge of his arm is going to be a little lighter. And here, where there's an overlap, it's going to be a little darker. And his knee is up, so it's going to be a little lighter. So it gives you the idea that that he's 3D. I do want him to be a little less green and a little more brown, so I'm going to go with that dark brown color that I had. And this is my palette. So, and here's how I'm going to apply the paint. I just scribble that onto the palette. And then I can add some color to my bunny in a little bit more of a rich brown tone. But being mindful again of where he would be darker in shadow and where he would be lighter because of the sun hitting him. And we're going to even add more dark tones to the portions of him that should be darker. Well, that's kind of drying, though I'm not done with him. That's just like the first pass. While he is drying, I have my foliage set. This is the foliage set number 1, and see, they want to fall out because it's been opened and closed so many times. But I want, oh, where'd it go? My small grass has seemed to have run away. This is the larger grass. I need that itty bitty small grass. And see what I'm telling you about, they can get lost. It's probably in the bottom of my stamps. Well, what we will do, I'll show you how to fix that. We are going to use a green, kind of a, I'll use kind of this color green. What is this? Olive green. And that's number 15, olive green, and the Marvila Plume too. And I'm only going to do the bottom portion of this because I don't want real tall grass in front. We can put taller grass in the back, but I don't want taller grass in the front. So I'm going to try to stamp this one right over him. But then we are going to pounce this around so that we have grass that is not too even and stuff. We want it to look like it's growing wild. So we sort of pounce it around in a bit of a circle. I didn't put it on my problem is I didn't put it on my stamping block, but I want to be able to control a little more where it's at. And I was hoping I'd be able to do that by just holding, because I haven't found my smaller stamping block, and that one's really big. So we got some grass that's shorter up front, but then we can use maybe a darker green and do some grass behind him. Let's see, this one. This one is emerald, and it's number 98 emerald. And we're not doing the whole thing again because, you know, we're looking at a pretty close-up picture. So we're doing it a bit higher, but not too much higher. I'm doing a little bit on the sides of him. On both sides. To ground him a little bit so he's not just floating around out in space. Let's wipe that off a bit. Alright, so then we are going to take our paintbrush and we are going to get a little water and we are going to shake that off because we don't want to get it too wet. And we're just going to dab that grass. We don't want to blur it out completely, but we don't want it to look so harsh because it's a watercolor. And we're going to do the darker green now that we have. And you can go out around it so you can have taller bits. You don't have to stay within the confines of what you stamped. You can blend it into this other color green. Trying to make it look a little springy, so we got more than one color green going on, and we got lighter green and darker green, making it a little springy. And we're gonna blend those two together a little bit. They're mixing and matching. And we don't want a harsh line between the two kinds of grass. So, and what I do if I find that I don't have enough of the color somewhere, sometimes I go back in and give him a little bit of ground here. Some little bit of brown ground so that we're grounding our grass too. But sometimes I will go in and just draw just a little bit of green if I find that I washed it out too much. I can stamp over it or I can draw some. We're going to have to give him a shadow as well, but we're going to let that green dry. And we're actually going to go and get a flower. And I think I decided on, there's some ground flowers there, but I think I want these small flowers here, as long as they're in here like they're supposed to be. Well, what's this? Here's some cute little flowers, so we can make some taller flowers with this. Let's see, what would be a nice springy color? How about this purpley pink color? What is it? Magenta, number 20 magenta. And I'm going to ink these little flower heads. And again, I'm going to stamp them more than once. And this should be done on a small stamp block, but mine is missing. Okay, so there's some on that side of him. Let's do some on the other side of him. Maybe we'll want one more right here if there's any ink left. Yeah, there was. All right. So now we can take our paintbrush again and very little water, because we don't want to muddy this up too much, and just barely touch those little flower heads so that they don't look like they were stamped in. They look like they were watercolor painted in. And again, you don't have to stay within the confines of those flower heads. You can add some so that they look like they're kind of fading into the background. And bring some forward too. Into the grasses. A little more water. A little too dry. All right, so he's just having fun out there in those flowers. We could take and we could put these flowers, little ground flowers, in front of him in another color, maybe a dark bluish color. We might use, how about eggplant, a dark purple. That might look good. And again, we don't have to do them all. We can just do part of the stamp. These three little flowers right here. You can see there's more flowers there that I didn't color in. But I'm just going to give him a little bit of flowers down here. They dried a little bit on me. So he's got a little bit of ground flowers. I'm going to add just a little bit. of water to those. And then you'll see those pop and come to life when we do that. Right now they look kind of like blobbies, but that's okay because it's just the idea that there's flowers there. Get a little more water. But we're gonna add just a little something to those so that they look even more flower-like before we're done. But we need to give our little boy a shadow, or girl, whichever. But first I'm going to take and I'm going to add just a little bit of water and bring those browns together and make him a little more of a brown bunny than a spotty bunny. Not that spotty bunnies aren't pretty. They certainly are, but this is a little spottier than I wanted. And he needs to have darker under his little head here. And his little tail, we're going to leave it kind of white. Just bring it a little bit. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow color, African Violet, and that is number 86 African Violet. I'm going to scribble just a little bit of that on my palette. I'm going to mix it with that brown. And I'm going to get a shadow color that I'm going to add to places like under his little jaw there. That leg that's kind of behind the other one. This area in here. Anything that you think you lose the detail of, no worries, because we can add this back in too. Alright, so while he's drying a little bit, we're going to add a shadow on the ground. He's not done, don't worry. He's not done. Problem is, I shouldn't have done the eggplant on those flowers because now we're going to lose them in the shadow a little bit. That wasn't very smart. And I want to use my pen because I don't have a good black pen that colors in the eyes real well, so I'm going to use this gel pen, coloring his eyes and his nose and his little mouth. Darken this little line under his jaw a little bit. Should have waited till it dried more because it wants to bleed. we're gonna let that dry before we do anything else to him. But I do want to take that olive brown, or the olive green that I used. And as I said, sometimes I like to go in and add just a little bit of the grass back in when it gets lost. We'll hit that again with a little bit of water when the time comes. And I put a line there where I shouldn't have, but like I said, it's been a long time since I've done these little paintings. I'm going to take a little bit of blue, a couple colors of blue here. I'm going to use steel blue, which is number 17, and just a hair of this sky blue, number 75. I'm going to make a sky, but I'm going to use a different paintbrush for that because that one is so small. This one's a little stiff because it's new. All right. I'm going to take some of that and mix it together. Try to get a nice springy blue sky tone. Don't worry, I'm not leaving it like that. I didn't mean for it to be that dark, so I thought, well, we better not put any more than that on there. Remember that there's going to be some clouds in your sky. You don't have to do the whole sky, and you don't need to do the whole paper. Do kind of, oops, see, I just got green in my sky because I got too close to my bunny. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get too close to anything. You don't want purple in your sky, and you don't want green in your sky. I'll try to fix that in a minute. This will just give you a basic idea of how to work with these. It's an easy technique, but it's also easy to make mistakes, but mistakes can be fixed. So you want some areas that are lighter, some that are darker, and you don't want to go, you know, too far on your page, because then you won't like it as well. Gotta leave some negative space. So it gives you the idea that the picture goes on beyond what you're seeing. Trying to blend some things in because I don't like how it looks, but I think I'm making it worse. You can push your color and move it around just a little bit. My white bunny tail turned brown. I didn't want that to happen. See if I can push that green color back in towards the bunny. Or are we just going to have green in our sky? Liable to make it worse. Let's see, what else can we do with our little guy here? I added a little more green, just tapping that just a little bit. I don't like how it turned out very well, guys, but it is, you know, let's let it dry a little bit. Well, it's been a very long time since I've done a watercolor. So, I apologize. He should be better than he is, but just trying to give you guys the basic idea. Alright, well, we are going to bring our little flowers to life a little bit down at the bottom when it dries. But in the meantime, I do need to sign my work. We'll let it dry a little bit. Although I don't really want to claim it, I will sign it because I did it. Well, it's signed. I gotta wait until it's completely, mostly dry. And I'm gonna add just a little tiny center in this orange in the middle of some of these that I wanted to look like crocuses. Well, guys, he's not great, but here he is. I'm a little disappointed. I have not painted probably in about a year. And this is a technique where you have to practice a lot. I'm disappointed with how the bunny turned out. I can tell you that he's not exactly how I wanted him. But there he is. Usable, but not fantastic. Maybe I will paint another one off camera and show you what that looks like now that I'm warmed up a little bit. Maybe I can do a better job and do a small picture of something. We'll see. It might be here in just a second. Okay guys, well, usually I wouldn't paint all the way out to the edge, but I cut the paper a little small because I was cutting, you know, the 3x3 square that I did the bunny on, which I don't, there it is. Usually I would leave a lot more white around it, but the stamps were large, so it pretty much fills up the paper. I tried to make the barn in the back, really? I tried to make the, can't hold on to anything, barn in the background and the truck coming forward closer to you, and it's got like some lilies and some little pink flowers. I don't know what they are, pinkish red, like poppies maybe or something. Not great, not my best work, but as I said, it's been at least a year since I've done any of these paintings. Hopefully that shows you a little bit of how to do it, and anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can. I'm going to sit here and play around a little more, and but that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and that you know, you don't think it's too bad. It's not great, but you know, it'll work. Pop out on the front of a card and brighten somebody's day, right? I think this one's cuter. It's grown on me since I did it. So anyway, I'll probably pop it on a card and send it to my mom. One of these, I don't know. Maybe I'll pop this on the outside, you know, and this little dude on the inside, because, you know, kind of go together, farm. Kind of, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know what you think. Be honest, you can do that. You won't hurt my feelings too bad. Let me know what you think of them, and have you ever tried art impressions, watercolor stamps? Did you know you could watercolor with markers that are water-based, water-soluble, or whatever you want to call it? You can. You don't have to have the stamps. If you got drawing skills, you can draw it yourself. I do that quite frequently. Probably as much as I use the stamps, I draw, and sometimes I do drawing and stamping together so that, you know, so that I can get perspective right and things like that. And please subscribe to my channel, and please share my video with others so maybe they might subscribe as well. And thank you so much for watching and for listening to me babble, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye guys. Mwah.